I just have your attention. There's plenty of room inside right behind the cameras if somebody want to move in. Welcome to Spencer ARL Open House. My name is Ray Cutts. I'm the VP of Quality and Engineering for Spencer. Being in a tent here reminds me of one day in my youth when a friend John and I were trekking across the moors. We set up our tent on the night and fell asleep. Some hours later I woke with a bit of a start and I woke up my friend John. John, I said, look up at the sky and tell me what you see. John looked up and replied, I can see millions of stars. What does that tell you? I said. John thought for a minute. He said, astronomically speaking, he tells me there are millions of galaxies out there. Astrologically, he tells me that Saturn is in Leo. Time-wise, it appears to be approximately 3:15. Theologically, it's evident that the Lord is all-powerful and we are small and insignificant. What does he tell you? He said. After a moment of silence, I turned to John and said, he tells me that someone has stolen our tent. Let me introduce the first of our speakers today. Please welcome the Director of the New York State Office of Community Renewal and Deputy Commissioner for New York State Division of Housing and Community Renewal, Josie Frabito.
Thank you so much. We are so pleased to join you today. I mean, this is not just a wonderful day for Spencer. It's a wonderful day for the town of Plattsburgh, our neighbors in the city of Plattsburgh, Clinton County, and the North Country. We're really pleased on projects like this where we could partner with the folks at the local level and it could be a locally driven project and we could help fulfill the needs to enable projects like this that are going to create job opportunities, real job opportunities, good job opportunities for New York's working families. The fact that we can help communities help themselves and to partner with the private sector is what we should be doing in government. So today is a great example of that and we're very pleased to be able to do it. We could bring to bear funds that can fund some of the most difficult things, something like training, which we're able to do here, and we're particularly proud to help support the training efforts, again, to help build the capacity and the skill sets of the talented folks up here in the North Country. I'd like to acknowledge the good folks at the Development Corporation, and Dory and everybody, and the great job that they do. I'd like to acknowledge from my staff, Dan Brown, who really helped craft this project. And our participation in it. They do a wonderful job. Folks like me are just up here for the glory. They really do the work where the rubber meets the road. So it's a wonderful day. Thank you for allowing us to share it. Congratulations to all the good folks at Spencer. This is a great project. Keep up the good work. Do so well that you have to come back to me and hit me up for some more money because that means we're creating jobs. So again, thank you, congratulations, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Joe. Our next speaker is the Regional Representative for Governor Patterson. Please welcome Stephen Hunt.
Good morning. I'd like to read a letter. Dear friends, I'm delighted to send greetings to all gathered for the official grand opening of Spencer ARL at the Development Corp's Air Industrial Park. Today marks a meaningful day for the entire Plattsburgh community, and one that will be remembered by all who have worked so hard to realize this important project. Such a wonderful occasion also celebrates the spirit of cooperation, progress, and dedication that enabled the development of this latest addition to Spencer ARL, which has proven to be a valuable resource for the local economy since its opening in January. Having provided nearly 40 new jobs since that time, more employment opportunities are expected to come with increased business and growth of the automotive parts industry. The Empire State is proud to recognize excellent businesses that contribute to the economic vitality of a region, and Spencer ARL is doing so with a focus on customer service and respect for the Plattsburgh community, which proudly welcomes your industry. We certainly value and appreciate the vast economic potential offered by the increased flow of commercial activity this state-of-the-art facility will generate. I applaud the achievement you celebrate today, recognizing that this grand opening will not only enhance the employment opportunities for the Plattsburgh area, but the quality of life for many hardworking, dedicated people. Congratulations and best wishes to Spencer ARL for every future success. Sincerely, David Patterson, Governor.
Thank you, Steve. For the town of Plattsburgh, please welcome Supervisor Bernard Tassin.
Thank you, Ray. And again, congratulations to Spencer. Thank you to everyone for coming today. We tried to do a little better with the weather, but I'm very satisfied with what we have, given what we've been getting lately. Wonderful, exciting time, and it would probably be wise if I had some notes, because all the things going on in my mind, I'm going to probably pigeon walk a little bit. But this is an exciting day, and it's one of many exciting days we've had lately. And there's something happening, and as I shared with Joel a little earlier, I was talking with Steve, and will continue to do so. There are some great things happening in Champlain Valley, in the town of Plattsburgh, the city of Plattsburgh. We do have momentum. We are creating jobs. It's easy to forget where we live that there's something going on that's an economic crisis, because for the most part, and I'm always careful with this because there are people who have lost jobs, are having difficulty finding a position, but we're doing okay. We're backfilling, I think, a little faster than we're losing. We've got a lot of great organizations, collaboration between municipalities, working with the IDA and with the chamber, the county. We all seem to be focused in very similar ways, rowing in harmony versus disharmony in this region. And I think great companies like Spencer ARL are beginning to and continuing to recognize that this is not only a good place to live because of the environment, quality of life, but because of the people who are here. Many of you know my background in education for many years is I've gone through many companies. And with Spencer, had the opportunity to have a tour about a month ago and was just so impressed. But also, my mentality of production line has so changed on a personal level from a Henry Ford model to what's going on, where we see laptops along the way and real-time communication with maybe an engineer in Quebec and the production going on up the road in the Baker Road and what's needed here. It takes some real high-tech skills. And I'm so proud to keep hearing that this community is able to find a qualified, skilled, trained workforce. That's key. One of the best resources we have, I know, bass fishing, we can go on there, and it's a wonderful activity. But one of the best resources we have is the human resource. That's what ultimately makes the difference. And I'm very proud of the Champlain Valley's human resource. The institutions, I see the president here, John's here from Clinton Community. I want to tempt the last name, John, right now. It's going to take me a while. Our trade school just across the road, the university, are so willing to adapt to what the labor force needs. And that's a message we have to get out to the companies that continue to look at us. Tell us what you need, and we'll find it. We'll help you get it. Our relationship with the state agencies, I think, is absolutely positive. And for that reason, we hope, and I personally look forward to many years of not only success, but growth with Spencer and Nova and companies like them. We don't even know their names and acronyms yet, but they're coming. So thank you to everyone who did this. Today is really that celebration to everyone who's standing around here, many people who aren't here, that each had a little piece to enable my town, the town of Plattsburgh, to contribute the way we are to this local economy. So very much heartfelt congratulations, enjoy your day. We look forward to a long success with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie. I'd like to acknowledge that Senator Betty Little has joined us. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Our next guest speaker for the city of Plattsburgh, please welcome Mayor Donald Kasprzak.
John, Spencer family. It's a real pleasure being here. Joe, I guarantee you I'll be in your pockets as soon as we leave. We can talk about some things. And President Jablonski, it's a good Polish name, just like Kasperzak, so we'll straighten that out right now. I'm here on the behalf of the City of Plattsburgh. I also am directly involved with the City of Plattsburgh Economic Zone, which is very important, and for those of you who don't understand how that works, we work very closely with Adori, her staff, and her board to work with wonderful people like Spencer ARL, Nova, and Schluter, and a whole host of other wonderful companies that not only are here now, but will either expand or we will hopefully work with everybody in the future to bring more folks like all of you here. There are so many people to thank, and I'm probably going to offend some folks that are here or even not here, but the bottom line is that this is always a cooperative and collaborative effort to bring success stories and business partners together as a whole regional effect. And you know, Bernie and I are often criticized about we don't work well together, or the town does this or the city does that, and of course, you know, he and I are always used to getting written up and speak out in all these other wonderful places, so we don't believe in it. The bottom line is the success of ventures like this is regional. There's no question. We have people on committees and boards that are in the audience today that make these things work as a region. It's not city, it's not county, it's not the town. And the only way that we are going to succeed as an area is if we do it together. And believe me when I say this, we have stronger relationships with all these municipalities, entities, towns, villages, the counties than we are given credit for. I would just like to thank a few folks here, specifically Adori, her staff. Absolutely, the board of directors has been very important in all these decisions. The town of Plattsburgh, Bernie and I talk regularly, and we work well together on these types of projects. The Chamber of Commerce is directly involved in many good things for us as well. Empire State Development, New York State Labor, WorkSource One, Joe, you know, small cities, you know, community renewal. The list just goes on and on and on. And the only thing I can tell you is I'm glad we're all here. I took a tour earlier, and I can't tell you how clean the facility is, what I learned in about a half an hour about all sorts of things. And the workforce is tremendous. Of course, I know quite a few of these folks locally all these years, and I know that they'll do an outstanding job. So on behalf of the city, if you folks ever need anything from us, you're more than welcome to call me. I keep telling you that. If you want to complain, call Bernie first or somebody else, and I'll be glad to help you after that. All right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mann. For those of us at Spencer who know our next speaker, he needs absolutely no introduction. We hope you get to know him as well as we do. Please welcome Neef Tamburo.
I've actually scripted something here. I'm looking at it now. I'm confused. There's been a lot of thank you going on, and I thank all of the guest speakers for joining us. And although I've opened up many plants in my career, I got to say that Plattsburgh is becoming one of my most memorable, and it's absolutely a great place to be. On behalf of myself, the Spencer family, the Butcher Group of companies, our corporate team, I thank you all for having us, and the help that you've given us has been tremendous. When I first came into Plattsburgh about a year and a half ago, notice I'm not reading the script, I'm way over. The first person I met was Rosemary Redmond, the Empire State, and she walked me through the doors and gave me a brief. I think it was Roseanne Murphy was with her and that whole team there. Basically, at that time, we were just bidding the job and trying to become a supplier to Nova Bus, and it was a big step for us as Spencer Logistics and the Spencer family to try to get into public transit and into this industry. We thought we had something to offer, but we needed an opening to get in, and there was lots of options for different locations for where we could set up, and thanks to Empire State, they made the introductions. We met with Adori and the PDC. Was New York State Labor Department. I can't even mention all the names, but Stacy and John DeSalle group. And I tell you what, you helped us put together something that would have been very difficult otherwise to do, and it's been absolutely tremendous. So I thank all of you guys, and I'm lousy with names, so I'm not going to remember most of the names of the people that I come across. And with a name like Neve, you wonder why, but Neve is actually after Anibale, and Anibale is spelled like Annabelle, which, so I grew up with a boy named Sue. It actually is a great opener when you do actually start to meet people. The Community Renewal Fund is and has been a very important part of this. We really do appreciate it. We set off with a goal to provide the best tools for our employees so that we could train what I'll say is unskilled labor to do very skilled work. And I hope what you'll see today is the results of a lot of effort and time that went into a system that has actually brought the work via computer screens right to the operators on the floor. It's with Sneesis, and I'm not going to get into thanking our total team, but you'll meet Kathleen later. The facility's been perfect. I mean, it's I think Adori had this one written by the gods. It was kind of like a perfect Nova bus down the street there, 2.2 miles away, and they had this building just waiting for us, and conveniently empty. Thank you. And it's worked out. It's absolutely perfect space. Most importantly, I think what we have to do there, and what I'm really grateful for, is I got to thank all of the people from the North Country. Having built over 50 plants in 7 different countries and probably put to work more than 4,500 people myself as an engineer and as an employer and a guy who has built outsourced plants, I would say that the high quality work ethic and the dedication of the people that I've seen here, the workers who are working with us, they're second to none in the world. We're doing some amazing things out there, and you couldn't do it without these folks. It's been absolutely fantastic. We've had, I think there's maybe only one person who has left since the day we started, and he went to Novabus. Was our blessing. So, nothing wrong with that. As you all know, we're a supplier to Novabus. Ultimately, I have to thank Novabus for selecting us. I think in the early stages when I was first here, it was all about us perhaps winning the contract, and I believe Novabus made the right decision and in picking us as their supplier, and allowing us to create Spencer ARL New York here in Plattsburgh. So I thank you very much to Novabus. As part of Spencer Logistics and the Butcher Group of companies, over 60 years of combined efforts, we've been providing services of logistics, focusing on packaging, subassembly, sequencing, primarily to the automotive business. We made a decision a few years ago to try to diversify our customer base, try to get into public transit. The opportunity was great. We had some common relationships with people that we knew at Novabus. We competitively bid the job. We won it, and it was definitely a challenge, but it now allows us to be here in Plattsburgh. We see this as a foothold, a base location for us hopefully to enter into other contracts in other industries, into New York and other parts of the U.S. Out of Plattsburgh here, and with a focus on public transit. We're a service provider. We consider ourselves to be a world-class service provider. We focus on the non-core activities of our customers. Novabus's job is to assemble buses. They want to assemble them the most cost-effective, highest quality, and they want to assemble the maximum amount of production that they can off of one assembly line, which means more models and types of buses off that line. For them to have made the decision to outsource has allowed us to actually create this whole opportunity where we now manage their sub-assembly, the sequencing, and the minute-to-minute feed of their plant. Hopefully what that's going to result in is a superb world-class bus. There's going to be lots of sales, and there's a big demand for buses in the future. That's going to mean Nova Bus is going to get lots of orders in Plattsburgh. They're going to expand, they're going to grow, and we're going to follow suit by keeping the product moving into their plant so they can get it out the door real fast. That's about it. I can keep going if you like, but...
Thank you, Dave. Last but certainly not least, please welcome the local guy we assigned as plant manager for our Plattsburgh location, John Burnett.
Facts to follow, both of them. Again, I guess I would like to thank the community for coming out. A special thanks to the Spencer family and the rest of the corporate team for taking the time out of their busy schedules to attend this event and for the continued support and help here with this project in Plattsburgh. The startup and evolution continues to be a collaborated effort among a lot of you that are here today. And we are all excited and very hopeful about the future. I would like to, at this time, introduce you to the rest of the Plattsburgh team that works here with me every day, day in and day out. They're standing outside here to the left, to my left, and they are directly involved with the daily operations here. They are equally proud of their combined efforts and achievements and are committed to do whatever is necessary and whatever goals that the company may have. It has been my pleasure to work alongside each of them, and I thank them very much for their continued effort and support. Special thanks goes to a group, I don't know if, as some of you may know, that the first initial team that came on board is a half a dozen or more that spent a good 6 weeks sacrificing their time up in St. Eustache, away from their families and things like that, in order to help us get underway here today. Now, in closing, I would like to ask everyone to do a couple of things. Join us for a little bit of the breaking of the bread, so to speak. We're also planning on giving tours to you. So we have some tour guides in groups of 10. I invite you to come into our facility and we'll give you a great walkthrough and a little better peek inside of what we're all about. And again, thank you very much for coming and joining us here today. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you coming. John's already done the housekeeping thing, so the tours, I believe, coming to the front door.
Yes.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to take a tour, take the front door. We're going to do it in groups of 10, and we've assigned tour guides. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That's hard for me to do, you know.
Yeah, I know. I've asked you to stand still. Neeb Tamburo. Professional engineer, is that what the PNG
Yes,
stands
yes,
for? Okay. First of all, Neeb, what is Spencer ARL? What's the ARL all about? I've heard the Spencer family.
The Spencer family, ARL, is a company called Assemble Right Limited. The Spencer family bought a big share of that company, controlling interest of it. We brought it together. I was the founder of the ARL Limited. Joined with the family so that we could bring our expertise to their group. They've been around for years, and hopefully we could go get some good contracts together. And we made an effort to get into public transit, and we hooked up with Nova Bus.
Now, is this your first venture along these lines, or have you got other plants elsewhere?
Oh no, we've got other plants. Yeah, and within the family, within the Butcher Group and Spencer Logistics and ARL, we probably have 8 or 9 different locations throughout Canada and Michigan.
Okay, now you're tied exclusively to Nova? You can't do any outside work?
No, in Plattsburgh, this facility itself is tied exclusively to Nova Bus, but no, our interest is to do work with other companies in the North Country, anywhere in New York. We're going to use and leverage this relationship to do business with other segments of industry that could use our services for outsourcing.
Yes, you'll try to get some more other things here.
Yeah, but it could be separate standalone facilities that we would try to open up locally or anywhere anywhere in the U.S. for that matter. So we'll leverage this as a springboard to do other things.
But it sounds like the way it was worded up here that it's going to be, you're going to take it off here, rush it up there, and they're going to put it.
This is yes.
You're going to be synchronized.
We manage the minute-to-minute feed to their plant. We deliver the sub-assemblies that we've assembled in sequence to their line, right to the line side. They put it right on the bus, and our people bring it right there, and then they assemble the bus.
Are you going to have a little cushion, though? I mean, something breaks down.
Oh yeah,
you need 10 parts, and you only got 8.
There's a bus is made every 4 hours. We work one bus every 4 hours, and we're 8 hours ahead of them. So there's not a lot of cushion. You have to do it right, and you have to be just in time. And it's all about, again, controlling quality, costs, lean, flexible manufacturing. It's do it right, do it the first time, and get the throughput moving.
Okay. Is there a particular reason why you can't have a cushion? You can't have them sitting around here waiting?
It
just seems like it'd be safe.
Costs money. No, you know what? It's not about being safe. If you do it right, and once the system is debugged, it works fine. I mean, that's what I've been doing my whole career throughout the automotive industry. It's all about just-in-time delivery, minute-to-minute management feed of our customers' plants. They focus on assembling buses. We focus on the sub-assembly. So they take all that clutter out of their plant. Now they can really focus on their throughput. And we worry specifically about these items they don't have to worry about, so they know it's going to be right. They put it in the bus, and we take all the proliferation, all the complexity out of the different models of buses. So when that bus comes down the line, they're not thinking about what goes on it. It's there ready to go. So now you increase your line speed, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Okay, so what's next for you? You're not the plant manager here.
No, I'm actually looking to again build a platform with this plant now, which is a showcase, and we've actually introduced for the first time ever in my career the NISA software, which we've worked together with Kathleen, which is this operator description platform. It's how we bring the actual work instructions, drawings to our operators on the floor. It's unique. It's one of a kind. We're going to use that and our expertise, hopefully, to talk to other players in the area and see if we can become part of their teams. So I'm going to aggressively look to find ways to do business with other companies.
Okay, you said, I think you've seen the start of 40 or 50 different plants. I hope a few of those are still open around the world.
Well, they were all predominantly for GM, Ford, and Chrysler. Well, you know what? A lot of them are still open. Yes, I've done them as far away as Poland and Germany and Mexico, Sao Paulo. It's most of my experience has been in the automotive world. It's really nice to bring this expertise to public transit. It's a low volume production environment, but it's a real high work content. There's a lot of knowledge the operators have to know. That's why it's important to develop these systems to train the operators the simplest way possible. But it's all culminating into what is a great market right now. Public transit is big. It's key. You know, it's a good place to be.
Yeah.
There's a big demand.
Yeah, and well, must be a big demand worldwide, because I was listening to the news last night, and they said that I think the state of Wisconsin taking their stimulus money and they're buying stuff from, I think, Poland or somewhere else, and that's not quite creating jobs in North America, is it?
No.
That's unfortunate.
I think we need to do more about that and make sure that we're buying here locally,
Yes.
you know, between our countries. And myself as a Canadian, but you know what? We have to look after each other.
Yeah.
And we have to keep jobs here. And to do that, we have to come up with low-cost solutions that work. And that's what we're all about. And what you can find is you can still get reasonably priced labor, people who want to work, and you can do as good a job and be competitive to the Chinese markets, to the Mexican markets. And I've done work in both those countries, so I know what it's all about. So I wasn't kidding when I said earlier that the workforce here is tremendous. They want to work.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we got to be competitive at $11, $12 an hour versus the $1 an hour that we're seeing over, you know, in some of those countries. And well, it can be done, though. It can be done. And but we got to do things to keep buying from our own.
That's right.
Yeah.
We don't support ourselves. And, so, So you will try to even buy locally too for your own.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. We've been doing that. That's our goal to do that. It's Novabus's goal to buy, everything American made. That's part of the plan. It has to be.
Like 40 people working here. How many?
Yeah, it is. We're at 38 right now, and depending on what happens with sales down the road, it could double. But right now, it's going to be steady as she goes until we get up to full speed and debug and, make it work perfectly, which is really close.
One shift?
One shift, yeah. One shift.
Okay. Well, thanks, Nate.
Thank you.
Anything else you think we should know?
No, that's good enough for now. I think that's good enough.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Back in his old career, I used to get this fellow on TV at least once or twice a year at Northern Adirondack.
Absolutely, yes.
Bernie Bassett, town supervisor. Things like this are a lot of fun, eh, Bernie?
Oh, you bet they are. And, what's exciting is that we continue to do this. It's getting to be more the rule than the exception, and I hope I get in a mode where I expect it to happen. So we're out there, working together, creating jobs. It's great. It's good for the community.
Yeah, and it's good for the whole community. When the person comes here for a job, they don't say, do you live in the town of Plattsburgh? They hire the people from the local area that are qualified and so on. It's not just the town that benefits.
No, by no means. Oftentimes the mayor and I talk, maybe someone who lives in the city works in the town, works in the city, lives in the town. It's irrelevant. If we don't work together, nothing's going to happen for anybody. It really is a regional thing. I often mention the Champlain Valley because that tends to be the general area where stuff happens. We play a role. We have some great opportunities as far as infrastructure and space. Certainly the city plays a role with having the university, the hospital, etc. You need a urban center, and it just goes on and on. The various agencies. I think it's becoming a positive and fun thing to work in this region, which is good. We just don't have any. Our negative press just isn't like other places. We're upbeat, we're positive, and that attracts the right kind of people.
Let's talk about Nova just for a second. I wasn't able to make that big grand opening. I had something else on the agenda already committed that day, and when you're running a one-man band, you can't be more one place at a time. How is Nova doing? How many employees do they have right now?
Nova's doing great. I don't know their exact number at the moment. I would say it's probably around 240 or so. But I think we're going to hear some good news before long about expansion. I know their goal was to eventually get to 300 or 400 positions, but Nova also creates a business like Spencer to happen with another, 40 or 50 employees, and there's another business across the road that does some of the sub-assembly work as well. That's created more jobs, and as we heard today. Spencer is very interested in expanding what they can do for this community and bringing more work for them from outside of this area into the community. So as they market their business, they're marketing our region. It becomes a win-win-win all the way around. And one of the biggest messages, and certainly the relationship with Nova was very positive also. Working with the Development Corporation, the town had to provide some resources for them. But we were out there from the beginning. Our codes folks were there regularly, and it was collaboration. They had a great engineering firm. They took our advice. They acted on it. There was never a headbutt. They made a decision. They had a deadline, and we said, "We'll get you there," and it happened. So it's just great to see these kinds of things take place, and so many very new businesses moving into the area. It's good. It's exciting.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll be here 5 years and 10 years from now, and
that's always
nobody has a crystal ball.
Absolutely, that's always a concern, Cal. I looked back. The press carried a while ago in the 100 years ago today section that they do. They had a section on the Lozier.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And it was like they had 400 employees. And I said, wow, 400 employees then. Where is it? You and I can look at what Line Mountain was a number of years ago when the mines were open. I mean, where is it? Things indeed do change. But one of the things we can do different, we have that knowledge. it's like a Nova bus. This community hasn't kept focus on something that worked and then sort of, wrung their hands and said, we're done, we've got that, it's over.
Time to get in the easy chair and relax.
Sure. No, we're always looking for ways to reinvent ourselves. Things like the fishing tournaments that are going on. These are extremely successful for the region, but we're also now, I work with the Strategic Tourism Planning Committee at the Chamber, we're looking for what other kinds of venues can we bring in. Let's think out of the box. So we never hang ourselves, a few years ago, and I still would, I guess, today, if someone said they were going to build an F-150 plant, we'd be incredibly excited. That might hire 1,000 people. But if you lose one employer that hires 1,000, you got a significant community problem. So we're very diversified. We have some larger employees, some state, some private. That's a key to a community. We have the educational, as I've mentioned before, and I think we'll continue to be even more successful in the future. And quite honestly, I think some of the best and biggest stuff is just on the horizon, genuinely.
Okay, great. That's good news, Brent.
Yes, it is.
Thanks.
Thanks, Cal. I mean that. You
Okay, now we have the plant manager, John Vermette. Where are you from originally, John?
Vermont originally. Moved here to the North Country in '97. I originally started to work for Bombardier in 1981. Ended up here in '97, the fall of '97, and got into logistics and transportation in 2003.
And you were the first plant manager here then? Probably?
Yes. Started in January and started to establish my team. In February, we did the first hirees and sent them to Stanislaus for some training and things of that nature. Now we're at 37 full-time employees with 4 part-time.
Okay. And Neeb said it's all one shift. You only get
It's one shift operation to support. Currently support Nova Bus's one shift operation. If there's a need to go to a second or third shift with Nova, then you'll see us follow suit.
Now, how far ahead will you know what Nova's needs are? Right now, I'm sure they have contracts.
Yeah, they do. Right,
as soon as they get a contract, they notify you. Is that
yes, pretty much. We use their MRP system as well, so we can see as contracts get loaded in. Like we just a couple weeks ago, we were all excited about the 90 cars for New York City. We were able to see them into the system and see the longevity there. So it's great. So we're tied very tightly with them here.
Now, I guess there was a bidding process. How long does that bid last? I mean, Nova could be here 100 years, and
that's our hope. Our current contract, I believe, Neeb will tell you definitely. The first, it's a 5.5-year contract to start with, and there's 2 right of refusals that follow afterwards, or for at least, I think, 3 years. There's 3 years apiece, something like that.
There's some longevity there.
Exactly. The potential's there. As long as Nova Bus keeps winning orders and producing buses, which we hope they are, then we're going to be. They're happy with us. We're going to make sure that they are, and that they have no need to go anywhere else. So we're going to try to do our part to support them as best we can. As you can see here, there's a good Nova turnout here to support us as well. So I'm very happy and excited about that. It's a close relation that we're having here, anyways. Everybody's in a training curve here, so it's not like a St. Eustache plant where it was established and they've been producing. We basically almost all start off at the same even ground. So Jim Tooley's having his hands full at his well, setting his facility up like I'm doing here on a smaller scale.
Now, it sounds like it's important that a supplier like you be close by. So if you were located a couple hundred miles away, it wouldn't be as efficient, would it?
No, exactly. Especially for the contract that we are currently doing. We're producing a lot of the major subassemblies, as you're probably aware of, but we also do the transportation and line sequencing. So our guys actually load the truck, they drive it over there, unload the truck, and actually take the material line side. So as you can see, as we're coming tighter and tighter with that 4-hour tack time, if we were much further than that, that would have a true impact on how we were to build. We're trying to keep both facilities lean, so we're not building a lot of WIP to try to keep things more effective that way, so the close proximity is important.
Okay. And on the horizon, do you see any job increase, or you think you'll be steady?
I think potentially as Nova Bus gets established and grows, and that people in the country understand that we've got a good quality bus manufacturer here, that the orders hopefully will come in.
Okay. Anything else, John, you think we should know about? Okay, let's go.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
I saw your cameras, are you?
No.
All right, we're inside and we're going to listen and follow along here. Is there a spiel or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a full tour.
You know, so you know, it's
Welcome to Spencer ARL, of course. My name is Ryan Flint. I'm the material planning supervisor.
Ryan. I'm Cliff. How are you?
Good.
This is Peter.
Nice to meet
And
you.
this is Rosemary.
This here is our Spencer ARL Drive for Excellence board. This is our major KPIs. We have it strategically placed here in front of the main employee entrance and the office. So this is the first thing that you see out here. Right now, we don't have full setup here with all our internal because we basically want to focus more throughout this startup on our customers' needs and wants. So that's our main focus right now. You can see here we have 173 days without an accident, so we're pretty impressed with that.
Look.
So we'll continue on with the tour.
Everybody wants to see those things that we do with that.
And we appreciate Spencer ARL allowing the Hometown Cable Network and Plattsburgh.com camera inside. We'll try to pick up as much audio as we can.
Known as our heavy side of the operation. It has all our larger, more major components that are assembled. For instance, right here you can see we have our front and rear axles that go onto the buses. These are for the British Columbia buses. These come in large wooden crates and they're hoisted out with this crane that you see here. And they're hauled over to these fixtures where the rest of the sub-assembly is done. They'll be picked back up and moved over to these shipping racks. Each of these sections have shipping racks, 3 apiece, so there's a constant flow of material coming through. We'll see more.
Microphone, and so that if he turns away, he...
It would help if you don't mind.
This portion here is our third-party logistics section of the operation. This is our main warehouse. We house about 65% of the parts that NovaBus uses. The other percentage is brought straight to their facility. This right here is the main receiving dock. So all the material that comes in comes through these 2 doors here, hits the floor. It's looked at, received in this office over here through a shared Barnett program. If there's any kind of discrepancies, any kind of non-conformance, it's sent over to our next section over here. This is the QA quarantine zone. Just we'll move with it. See that most of the material here, there's nothing too structured about it. Comes in, it's very random. It's not like automotive where it's straightforward. So, ceiling height? I get the one question I can't answer.
It's probably at least 30 feet.
I would say, yeah, probably. That's fine. Now we'll move back out into the main part of the floor here. Here we come out. Once again, this is our heavy side. You'll see a couple more of the operations we do here. This right here, this is our radiator. You can see what it looks like sort of before we get started on it. This one right now is mid-production. There's coolant hoses, fittings, valves, a few other things that need to be added onto it. It's lifted. We have another separate crane just specifically for lifting and maneuvering the radiator. And here to your right, you'll see another large component that we do. This is the front end cap for the buses. We install the glass, the side windows. We do directional lights, headlights, a few other operations. And this actually rolls right in here on the rack you see, and it's shipped right out. It never comes off.
So how many engines at the moment are you putting out?
We put an engine out every 7 hours right now. We're on a 7-hour takt time. And we're slowly working down to 4 hours. That's going to be our rate for the rest of the year once we hit that in early September. Here you can see some of the Cummins engines. This is how they come in. Later on we'll see, at the very end, we'll see an engine that's complete, so you can see the difference and how much goes into it.
Where are these made?
The engine? The engine comes out of Canada, I believe. And shipped to us.
I was looking at this.
Consolidated Diesel Company.
No. North Carolina.
Yeah, it's confusing. We have stuff from Europe, stuff from Canada, stuff from the States. This right here is an AC unit for the buses. There's not too much we do with this. It's pretty much an in and out job, but it just needs to be separated. It goes into these racks here behind you. It's split into two. There's dual levels. Just trying to create some time here before we hit the Nisus section of it. There's not too much more to go. We gotta wait for this group to get done with the Nisus stuff.
Exporting goods. Defense Department.
This is more some of our small sub-assemblies. A bunch of valves. You can see copper tubing in the back. That's the heating tubes, and we have small tanks, valves, pressure units. Chris, are they done? This is the final portion of the tour. Here you'll see pretty much our biggest sub-assembly that we do here is on the engine. Here you can see one. Just earlier they didn't have the transmission attached to it, but now you can see the transmission is attached. It's actually still on the crane, so you can see how we hoist that into place. This over here, this is where it starts. After this sub-assembly is done, it's lifted and mounted to this cradle here. And then once it's on the cradle, we can do the rest of the install, and you can probably go around that and you can see exactly what else goes into this engine here. Eventually we'll be building one of these every 4 hours. You get a mic.
We're not doing anything with Mike thing, are we? Your name's not Mike.
Introduce.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good.
Turn it on.
Do I have to do?
Well, he's taping it for public access TV.
Hi, how are you? Welcome to our demonstration today. I'm Kathleen Niles. I'm the owner of and president of Nisus Incorporated with this kind of visual brainchild. And I'd like you to meet Marty. Marty has his own company, RT Systems. And Amanda. Don't be shy, Amanda. Amanda's our worker on the floor. The whole concept is a worker on the floor. It's a tool to make their job easier so that they do it right the first time, right? So we start off with a bill of material, and the bill of material that we currently are using, I'm going to have Marty explain the logistics behind how the bill of material and all the information gets to Nisus to start with.
Good afternoon. What we do is in the middle of the night, 3 in the morning, we go to Nova Bus's accounting system, if you will, or MRP system. It's called Barnett. And we go and get a series of reports. We also go onto their servers in Montreal and get all the latest engineering drawings, the quality alerts, assembly standards, inspection standards, and bring that here locally so we can have that available with the latest and greatest every day. Now there's a few other reports we run every hour because there's items that do change before the bus hits the line. They're constantly in engineering wanting to make sure that they get it right before they start that bus. And because of a lot of these buses are unique, it's the first time they've designed them and built them. It is sort of a fluid, dynamic situation, so we're trying to stay in front of that. We bring all the information into this database that we call Plan for Every Part. Everybody's got web-based access. It runs on SQL and keeps, like, for example, this is a 72-day bus schedule. So it's every order number, work cycle, work center. It's all the information, all the bills and materials that are required for us to provide this service of subassembly that we're doing. So we actually have this available locally, and we can push that and have that available for the Nisus system, which is really our work instruction system that really drives the process.
Just to tell you a little bit about why I started this. I started this because I was a worker on the floor. I started off like Amanda, and I had a vision that if I had the right work instructions that I would do less mistakes. So having said that, I'd like to have you come around here and you can actually see what Amanda's doing, and we can explain why we're doing it this way.
Great. You have to hold the mic.
Do you want to, you just hold?
Yes.
Public access TV. You get to use the microphone line.
Can you do this? Just talk normal.
First thing we do is we go to work cycle search. And then we pick the production date and the time, which is all based on a 4-hour bus. And then we pick the work cycle. And all work cycle is, it's a number given to a person so they know which deliverables that they built. I'm 15,002.
And it takes a minute to do what she's doing right now just because the system is going in and it's looking at Barnett's data, which is the mother data along with the plan for every part. It's marrying it up to the schedule. It's looking at every work instruction that was in the system, and it only brings what's a perfect match. If it isn't a perfect match, she can't have it because that would mean that there would be the potential for a wrong build. So we've done an example today to show you how she's picking one that's a perfect match.
And all these are deliverables that I build in that time frame.
So this is the part that she's got on the table here. We gave you a smaller part, but this same method doesn't matter whether it's an engine or a transmission or whether it's this piece. They all of the work instructions work off the same methodology. So she has a little green go button here, and she's been assigned 8 minutes to do this task. Now that's because they're on a 4-hour cycle, so they balance the cycle to the person. And so what happens is when she goes into this work cycle, if she has any trouble, then that means she traditionally would have no way to communicate back to anyone that she was having trouble. What she can do is she can actually click the pause button, and she can put feedback in that immediately goes to her manager to tell the manager she's having trouble and why. And so we can work on continual improvement for the industry to actually make it better. Either her tools weren't here, her parts weren't here, some problem developed. So then from that, she can tell you more.
And then the first step, we're given the bill of materials, which tells us all the parts that are needed to build it. And it tells us the location that we can find all the parts. They're all assigned a blue number, which relates to which part it is. And then it gives us a picture of everything that's needed. And then we're also given a drawing. that allows us to zoom it in so we can see where each part goes.
Yeah, and prior to Nisus, this would be the tool that the operator would be given. It's very tiny drawing, a lot of sub-assemblies fit in. She'd have to pick this sub-assembly and try to really look at those joints. She's able to zoom in and blow that out and see exactly how it comes together.
One of the things too is that if the drawing isn't the right revision, she can't have it because it's gone to the original information from NovaBus and it looks for the revision level of the drawing. So if you could close that. The revision level of the drawing is present on her bill of material. If you don't see it red, that means there was not a perfect match, and it actually would alert the quality manager gets a report when a drawing cannot be found. So anyways, it alerts our quality system and it alerts our operators that they have to be using the latest and greatest.
Then when we go to the next step, it gives us a picture of what it's supposed to look like when it's done, all the tools that are needed to build it, and also gives us pictures of building it as we go. Then the third step is putting the tag on it, which tells them which bus, the operation ID so they can identify it, a barcode and a buggy number so that we can scan it into the system so when it goes to NovaBus.
So some of the additional things that we are telling people as well is in order to make sure that the system always stays accurate, it's very, very important that that information is always true. So what you see here is this station is mobile. She can take it anywhere in the facility that she wants to go. But there's also the laptop that you were looking at earlier is also a thin client. It does not store anything. It doesn't even have a hard drive of any shape. So what it does is all the information she's accessing and using is in one central location. And Marty's system actually does all of the on-site and off-site backups to ensure that that information is always protected. Trying to think if there's anything else. If you have any additional questions, feel free to give us a call. Any ideas? Because we built the software, we're always open for a new way of managing it, a new idea, so feel free to get a hold of us at any time.
This was a really good demonstration because Eve had described to me on several occasions this software and it never quite hit as well as seeing it firsthand and how much it really entails. And that's fabulous.
Well, the power of it is as well is that if she's down here and she's having something that needs clarity, right? For me, if I'm an engineer, I can go in here, log in as me, and I can actually have full edit function right at the floor. So I can go here, upload a picture, I can change anything real time. So if she has a suggestion or idea, we can do it right now. But it takes all that information and feeds it back to the server, and Revision controls it, it does everything for them.
Amazing. Well done.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
That's a quick look inside here at a few of the workstations. Everyone is clearly labeled. It's an interesting look. Now we're going to try to talk with Dory Kurz if she's available. Okay, we have Dory Flynn Kurtz with us, and actually this is take 2. We did this wonderful interview and my tape there goofed up, so we're reshooting it. And I just finished the tour of the facilities there, and it's very, very impressive. Dory.
It is. The Spencer ARL is in a 82,000 square foot building. It's about a 15-year-old building, but very attractive building, well constructed by local contractors. And they have rented 42,000 square feet. They are doing all the sub-assemblies of the engines for NovaBus as well as all the third-party logistics, which means they're the just-in-time delivery person group for all the parts that come to NovaBus. So every supplier provides the things to Spencer. They kit them up and get them up there. It's 2.8 miles, I think, from there to the plant.
I know, it's 2 point something. I know.
Yeah, it's quite close, and that was a very important part of They're very connected electronically and by computer, and so while they sort of expect to know what they have to bring on a certain day at a certain time, if there's something that they need all of a sudden, they're really in good shape. And this is a company with many, many, many years of experience in the automotive industry. They're somewhat new to the passenger bus business, but the Spencer ARL and the Butcher Group is out of Windsor, Ontario. They've got big operations in Detroit and in Windsor.
These Canadian firms are very important to us. We seem to get a lot of Canadian companies that come south.
We do, and I think part of the reason for, and Novabus is a good example, is we're in the United States and we have all the advantages of being in the United States, but relatively close to their home offices, easy to get to, and most people in Montreal understand Plattsburgh because they've been to the beach, they grew up here, their aunt and uncle live here, so there's all of those connections. And Novabus is bringing a whole group of new suppliers that we haven't seen here before. There is several are in the city of Plattsburgh, several are locating in the town of Plattsburgh, one that is going to be in the village of Champlain. So it's really bringing new jobs for all people around the county. And one of the things that was exciting about this project, while New York State doesn't have, we all know that they're going through some tremendous difficulties at the state level. And so there really wasn't a lot of funds available to incent this company to come here. And we were able to work with folks at the state in Albany who had some federal money and to provide it as training money. So the bulk of the incentives that this company got when they came here, $400,000, is to invest in people in our community and improving their skills to work for them and for other companies. The company was required to provide health insurance to its employees, as well as had a minimum standard for where the wage is considerably above the minimum wage. So this is a company who's accepted that, understands that, and actually wants to do that, very respectful of their employees. So the money is invested in us, and should in any way somehow this project doesn't work out, we still have people who have really good skills. But we don't expect it to be unsuccessful. We think it's going to be...
There's no telling, you know. I worked at Sheridan Company for 9 years, and it's now the Kimpex building, and people, thought it had been there for 100 years, it was going to be there forever. I kept trying to tell them that the sky might be falling in Rouse's Point, and they'd say, no, Wyeth would never think of leaving us. And they find out it's a big business and it's a big world. And
well, it is a big world, and I think that's one of the things that I think during my tenure here at the Development Corporation we really tried to do is to position our community and our people to be able to capture some of those opportunities in the world. Be realistic that not everything's going to come here, not everything is always going to work out as well as you would want, but that we have a great community, we have a terrific workforce, and we want to keep that terrific workforce here working. And so even in challenging times with respect to what the unemployment rate is, Novabus and its numerous suppliers so far have done a pretty good job of providing pretty much, if you want to have a job here and you want to get trained for a job, there's opportunity for you.
You can do it. And the nice thing is it's not the minimum wage type of jobs that people can work at these plants and be able to afford a home and
one of the things is that it provides them upward mobility. Many of the people I think in our community have said, well, it's not that I don't have skills, but I've been underemployed. And I think some of these new companies are really providing opportunity for people to come in, improve their skills, and then improve where they are in the company. But what we're seeing, I think now, in the last 2 or 3 years, it's interesting because it's in a time of unemployment. But I see companies much more careful about respecting their employees because they know they've invested time in them, they've invested energy in them, and that if those people are unhappy and they go someplace else, they've lost that really good employee. So from our experience, I think it's less of a time when employees have been perhaps treated not so well. I see employers, when they've got somebody good, they want to keep them. One of the comments that the president of Spencer ARL made today was that in the 8 months that they have been in operation, and they have 40-something employees, only one of those employees didn't work out. I think they selected well, but I think they got good employees as well. And that employee went to Novabus.
Yeah.
So they weren't going to complain about that. So, so they haven't had to bring people in and then disappoint them and say you're just not going to make it. And they also have been a good enough employer that people have wanted to stay.
Yeah, you train somebody and they take that skill somewhere else.
That's
and
right.
then you got to start all over again.
But we want the skills to stay here. So even if they go to another company,
at least if they're in the region.
That's an investment in our community.
Yes, that's right. I was trying to think back of what year that Bob Van and I may have first met you back in Champlain.
I think it may be in 97, early in 97 or late 96.
Probably would have been late 96 because Bob died in June of 97.
So yeah, I think it was, and I came to the Development Corporation in 95 and actually moved to the North Country in 95. My husband works at Wyeth and Chazy, and he started in late 94. So our family moved to Chazy.
And from what you were telling me in the first time we talked, and that's no longer on this tape, was that a lot of Chazy people are involved with the Development Corporation.
Absolutely. I think sometimes folks think of our company as being very focused in Plattsburgh. I live in Chazy. Our marketing director, his name is Katie Mulligan, grew up in Chazy. Her father's the superintendent of schools there. The chairman of our board of directors is from Chazy, Larry Jeffords, and our corporate treasurer, and the person who runs the finances for our corporation, Nina Coolidge, is also from Chazy. The chairman of the Industrial Development Agency is Champlain Telephone's chairman, Trent Trahan, who also lives in Chazy. So we really...
And we got Keith Matat.
And we have Keith Matat. Keith, very well known. His father worked at the Minor Institute for a long time, and Dick did wonderful things in facilities. And Keith is our project manager and facilities manager. And he's brought unbelievable stability and good quality to the way our buildings function. And I think that makes us an attractive choice for many, many companies.
Now, one of the things we did talk about prior was the fact that you have many buildings, and even though they're not always filled, it's sometimes nice and handy to have one available when something comes along.
I think the trick really is being successful at this business, and sometimes we're more or less successful, is having inventory in buildings so that you are able to be opportunistic when the right company comes, but making sure that you manage it well enough that you don't have so many vacancies that you can't afford to keep your buildings in the way they should be. So we try to be very careful and pre-clear the folks that we work with. We're always trying to incent new companies to grow. That doesn't always work out, but to a large extent it has worked out pretty well. We also often see our companies come, rent space from us, and then say, we really love it here, we want to build our own building, and we can accommodate them doing that as well.
Now, is it safe to say that sometimes you're approached and for your own purposes you decide it's not a good mix, that the company just isn't going to work out here?
Yeah, I think sometimes, I remember working with the Department of Labor years and years ago at a company that was just determined to be here. And the Department of Labor's manager said, you know, I've never seen any employees here with the skill that you're requiring, and it's a skill that's hard to teach, and it's a skill that is mostly found in the Rust Belt in Ohio and Michigan, and I'm not sure how we're going to get those people here. So I think you make the decision to say, yeah, we'd love you to come here, but we don't think we really have the right kinds of employees for you. And I think there's always those companies that are overly opportunistic and they want to come set up shop while there are benefits and are not really place-based and not really committed to to our community. So we try to weigh that and keep an equilibrium there.
Yeah, because those are probably the two biggest complaints you may have heard in the past is the low-income jobs that might come in, or the ones that are here take advantage of a tax break and then sayonara.
That's right. And so I think we've been relatively successful at that, and I think there was much talk. I think when Bombardier came to the city of Plattsburgh, people said they're only here while their real estate property tax break. A lot of people may not know that, but they've owned that building free and clear for several years, pay full taxes to the city school district and to the county and to the city. Sometimes you can have a relatively happy ending.
Yeah, yes. And the Development Corporation has had a lot of happy endings. It's got to be gratifying to you at the end of the day.
It is gratifying to me. I came here and didn't know the community very well, and I feel like I've learned a lot, and many of the people on our board of directors have been really helpful in mentoring me to be sensitive to the community. We have a board of 42 members.
Wow,
it's
a lot
large.
of bosses.
It's a lot of bosses, and but they really do a good job. They're all volunteers. They are all in it because they're committed to the community, and that's pretty gratifying. Tomorrow morning is our every 2-month board meeting with all of our board members, and so I'm going to be pretty happy tomorrow to report the success of today.
Okay, and let's not talk just a little bit about, you said training, education, local institutions help you with that?
They do. A key partnership that we put together here was having this training money. In Spencer's case, $400,000. And Clinton Community College's training folks came and took leadership of a consortium of people who provided training. Clinton Community College, the Chamber provided some OSHA training for the safety training. SciTech out from Clarkson provided special manufacturing kinds of training. So it really was a really good group. The Workforce Investment Board worked closely with Clinton Community College and managed that seamlessly. And I think the company is very happy. We're using the same kind of model with Nova Bus as well.
All right. Just before I got done talking with Bernie Bassett, he said more things are coming. Would you agree with that without being specific?
Yes.
More big, good news on the horizon.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we've been talking with Dory Flynn Kurtz. Anything else, Dory, that you think we should say right now that people ought to know about?
Well, I think one of the things that if people are really interested in finding employment or new employment, the folks at the One Work Source down on the U.S. Oval are absolutely terrific. They will work with you and find the right placement for you and do everything to provide training to make it successful for you. That's very exciting.
Okay. And we're here mainly because of the new facility, Spencer ARL, and it was an eventful tour we took there, and we appreciate everything that happened today.